All right, let's go ahead and complete the Unit 3 review for geometry. So it says the expression below is equivalent to blank. First thing you gotta do is distribute. You cannot combine inside these parentheses. So I'm gonna do A goes here and A goes here. So this now becomes A times B minus C plus A times D. D. Sorry, I don't have any white out. All right, let's go ahead and distribute. So A times B is AB minus AC plus AD. You cannot combine any of those terms together, so the correct answer is option C. All right, this is just a basic solve for x. So I'm going to start by adding 5x to both sides. And so 6x plus 5x is 11x minus 3 equals 7. When I add 3, I get 11x equals 10, and then I divide by 11. So x is equal to 10 over 11. Basic algebra, just a basic solving problem. Number 3, in the figure we have two parallel lines, line L and M are parallel. Which of the following angles is congruent to y? Well, if I look at my picture, I can see that I have a transversal, so I know that 4 is actually equal to y because those are alternate interior angles. So the correct answer is 4. Next, logs. Remember, to do logs, you do a circle method. So the base, so 4 raised to the 3 equals x. So this becomes 4 raised to the 3 equals x. So 4 to the third is 64. And that equals x. So it's answer choice D. I know it's been a little while since we've done logs, but remember, it's just a circle method starting at the base. Number 5, what rays form the sides of ABC? I'm going to go ahead and draw that angle, ABC. Rays start at the endpoint and continue in a direction. So BA is the first one, and B to C is the second one. So it is option D. Remember, they have a direction. They have to start at B and go to A. They have to start at B and go to C. Rays always start at an endpoint. Number 6 is just a basic definition. So line A is called what? That is a transversal. So remember, parallel lines and a transversal, they go together. All sides of the rhombus are the same length. Well, that's nice of them for telling you that. That's important. One diagonal is 12, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this diagonal as 12. Another diagonal is 32. We want to find the measurement of a side. So right here, I'm going to put an X. What is that side measurement? Well, rhombus, remember, when they intersect, they cross at 90. So we actually have some right triangles here. Rhombus actually also cut the diagonals in half. So half of 12 is 6, which means this is 6, and so is this one. Same thing is true here. So half of 32 is 16. So that means that this is 16, and so is this. Hopefully by glancing at this picture, you notice a right triangle right here. Anytime you're working with these kinds of problems, chances are right triangles are going to be your friend. So I'm going to go ahead and redraw this to hopefully make this a little bit easier. So x is here, 16 is here, and 6 is here. Pythagorean theorem is 6 squared plus 16 squared equals x squared. Well, 16 plus 16 squared is 292 equals x squared. And when I square root 292, I get roughly 17.09, which is option B. Option B. Okay. So on this next one, it's about isosceles triangles. So it tells you the measure of a vertex angle and a base angle. In these problems, remember, isosceles triangles will always have two equal angles. Those angles are called base angles, which means that there are two of these, two base angles, here and here. Vertex angles, there is only one of those. They're up here. So I have to add all the angles together to equal 180. Well, there's one vertex angle, so I'm going to put VA for vertex angle. So A plus 30. Well, there are two base angles. I'm going to put BA and BA. So the base angles are 2A minus 15 and 2A minus 15 because they are equal. That has to add to equal 180. So to combine all my terms together, a, 2a, and 2a, that is 5a. 30, negative 15 is actually 0. We don't have to write the 0. When I divide both sides by 5, my a value is 36, which is my first answer choice, but it does not want the value of a. It wants to know the measure of a base angle. Well, the base angle measurements are 2a minus 15. So 2 times 36 minus 15 is 57, which is the correct answer. So, sorry, you can't see that. So just be careful. Yes, the value of the variable is first, but that is not what we want. We want the base angle, so we have to plug in the base angle here. All right, next problem is absolute value. All you have to do on absolute value problems is plug it in. So I'm going over here. What is the value of 5 minus a if a is 9? I'm going to take 9 and plug it in. So the absolute value of 5 minus 9 is actually the absolute value of negative 4. And the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. A and B are definitely out because absolute value is a distance away from 0, and I can't have a negative distance. Number 10. What we're going to do is multiply. We got to distribute here. So 3m times m squared is 3m to the third. 3m times negative n is negative 3mn. N times m squared is positive nm squared. N times negative n is negative n squared. We cannot combine any of that junk, so looking at my problem, I should definitely have a negative n squared. So I've got that here, and I got it here. So I know that all of these are out. Then I also know right here that I should have a 3m cubed. Well, 3m cubed is here, so it is k. I know that this problem looks mind-boggling just because there's so much stuff in there. And they purposely are using m and n to confuse you. Okay, they want you to mess up by accident. So just be mindful that the letters they're choosing are on purpose. M and N can be flipped very easily. That's why they're using them. Okay, so just be careful. Just check your answers. Write down as much stuff as you can and eliminate as you go. 11, basically all we're doing here is solving for x, like we're just simplifying here. So notice how our answer has x in it. We are simplifying, so I have to distribute negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. 13 minus 10 is 3, so I get negative 2x plus 3. Option A. Remember, the negative goes with the 2. 12, n to the 7th raised to the 11th. This is the power to a power rule, and you multiply. So this is n to the 77th. Power to a power, you multiply it. So, for example, if I have m to the x raised to the y, it would be mx times y. Power to a power, you multiply. Number 13, for all pairs of real numbers m and n, solve for n. We want to know what n equals. So I'm going to go over here and just rewrite my problem. Again, we're solving for the variable of n. So I will subtract 5, which I cannot, from m. So m minus 5 equals 6n. I will divide by 6. N is now isolated, so m minus 5 all over 6, which is option J. Basic solving, you're just solving for a variable. Number 14. What two numbers should be placed in the blanks with the same difference between consecutive numbers? Basically, your answer choices should go in the blanks. So 13, blank, blank, 34. What I would do is just plug in the numbers. So first is 19. Second number is 28. To get from 13 to 19, I would add 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Add 6. To get from here to here, I would add 9. Notice how these are not the same, which means that's not our answer. They have to go up by the same number. So picking the next answer choice, 20 and 20, not two 20s, 20 and 27. 13 to get to 20, I add 7. 20 to get to 27, I add 7. And 27 to get to 34, I also add 7. Notice how all of those are the same, so that would mean that B is your correct answer. Number 15, if x is a real number such that x to the third equals 729, then x squared plus square root of x equals blank. Well, I would cube root the x value. So in your calculator, the way that you get to a cube root is you go to math and you go down to option 4, cube root. Then I just type in the number and press enter. So my x value is 9. Then I'm going to go up here. X squared would become 9 squared. The square root of 9. 9 squared is 81. The square root of 9 is 3. 81 plus 3 is 84. Option J. Number 16, if the rectangle measures 20 by 48, what is the length of the diagonal? So anytime you're working with rectangles, chances are you are going to see right triangles exist. So this length is 20, this is 48, and this is unknown. So I'm going to be using Pythagorean theorem. So 20 squared plus 48 squared equals x squared. When I add this together, I get 2,704 equals x squared. When I square root those answers, my value now becomes 52. So the length of the diagonal is 52 based on Pythagorean theorem. Number 17, you are trying to solve for x minus 2y quantity squared. This problem is just fancy substitution. Notice how x is listed first and 5 is listed first. That means x is actually the value of 5. Y is listed second. Negative 3 is listed second, which means those are the same as well. So when we plug in, we're going to have 5 minus 2 times negative 3 quantity squared. So 5 plus 6, negative 2 times 3, negative 3 is 6 squared. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 squared is 121, which is option A. Remember, this is fancy substitution. It does not mean anything. That symbol means nothing. It is just there to confuse you, to make you think you need it. You don't. All right, number 18. This circle is located inside of a square, and the square sides are 12. What is the area of the circle? Well, if the side is 12, that means the radius is 6, because remember, the diameter has to add up to 12. So my radius is equal to 6. So pi times r squared. Pi times 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. And pi goes on the end. Now, look at your answer choices. 36 pi is not one of them. It says round to the nearest square foot. That means that it wants you to use pi. So right here, I'm going to do 36 times pi, and I get 113.09. So the correct answer here is G. Actually use pi in your calculator. Okay, next page. Sorry, the staple is hard to see, so I'll go ahead and, there you go. All right, for all pairs of real numbers s and t, where s equals 4t minus 7, what does t equal? So our goal is to solve for t, so I'm going to go ahead and add 7. So I get s plus 7 equals 4 times t. I'm going to divide by 4, leaving t isolated. So s plus 7 all over 4 is option K. All right, to continue, number 20. Parallelogram ABCD has dimensions below. What is the area? The area formula for a parallelogram is base times height. We know that the height is always perpendicular to the base, and the base measurement is this full distance. So I should be adding 5 plus 15 to give me a base distance of 20. They're trying to mess you up. They don't want you to use the 5. It's all trying to be a trick. You don't have to fall for it, okay? So the area formula for parallelogram is base times height. So 20 times 12 is 240. Option D. If b equals a plus 3, then a minus b raised to the 4th equals a blank. Well, I'm just going to substitute a minus parenthesis, a plus 3, quantity to the 4th. Well, distributing in the negative, I get a minus 3 to the 4th. A minus A is nothing, so I'm actually left with negative 3 to the 4th power. So negative 3 to the 4th power is 81. Option F. Number 22, for the right triangle shown below, what is the sign of C? Well, C is where we're going to put theta. Sine is O over H, so sine of capital C is O over H. So let's label. We know that this is a right triangle. Obviously, the 90 is at A. Opposite the 90 is H. Opposite the angle is O. By default, this is A. Well, sine is O over A, or O over H. So I'm going to use little a to represent opposite and little b to represent hypotenuse. So A over B, which is F. Okay. Number 23, the value of B that will make B over 3 plus 2 equals 1/4. A true statement lies between what numbers? So let's go ahead and solve this out. I'm just going to solve it in the problem to save time. So I'm subtracting 2, so I get B over 3 equals 1/4 minus 2. Well, 1/4 minus 2 is negative 7 over 4. To solve this problem, let's just cross multiply. B times 4, so B times 4 is 4B. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. When I divide both sides by 4, I get a B value of about negative 5.25. Looking at my answer choices, negative 5.25 is between negative 4 and negative 6. Solving an absolute value. In this problem, make sure that what you're going to do is isolate the absolute value, which it's already done. So now I need to break it up into my two cases. The first case, you keep identical, everything about it. The second case, 3a minus 2, you flip the inequality and change the sign. You have to do both. So the difference is here, it happens right here. One's the same, one you flip and change sign. So I'm going to add 2. So 3a equals 7, 8, 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Oh, I changed that to an equal sign. Oh my goodness. That is bad. Don't do that. So a is less than positive 3. Looking at my answer choices, this says a is greater, so that's out. This also says a is greater. Notice right here, though, it just says this answer. Well, there's a whole nother problem, so let's solve it to see what we get. Add 2. 3a is greater than or equal to negative 5. Divide by 3. Notice I'm dividing by a positive, so I do not need to flip my inequality. So I do get two different answers. So a is out, c is out, and d is out. It all depends on how we put the sign. Now, a is in the center, which means we actually have to flip all this. So we're going to treat it like a mirror. A is going to come here. This will follow A. So see how it's opening towards A? It must continue to open to A. And then the negative 5/3 goes along with it. The one that matches that symbol is option B. So you do have to flip it to kind of get the right answer. But again, nothing you haven't learned before and nothing you haven't done before. Just make sure that you're paying attention. That's the trickiest part. In the figure below, you have a trapezoid. What is the measure of BDC? Well, in a trapezoid, you have parallel lines. Since the lines are parallel, you have alternate interior angles. So if I were to kind of pretend and extend that out, this angle here is alternate interior to this angle here. So now I have a triangle. Triangles add up to 180. So 125 plus 25 plus this random question mark has to equal 180. So when you solve for question mark, you get an answer of 30. So this is using parallel lines, even though it's a trapezoid. Number 26, the length of a rectangle is 5 inches longer than its width. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 38, what is the width? So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, I got my width and my width. The length is 5 inches longer than the width. So that means I take the width and I add 5. So perimeter adds all the sides up, and we know the perimeter is 38. So 5 plus W plus W plus 5 plus W plus W equals 38. Well, 5 plus 5 is 10, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 W's. Equals 38. Subtract 10, so 4W equals 28. Divide by 4. So the width is equal to 7. And this problem does in fact want the width, so I know that I did it correctly to get 7. If you pick 12, you've actually found the length, so be careful. All right, last page. In the parallelogram below, what is the area? The area formula for a parallelogram is base times height. Base and height will always be perpendicular, so this one lets you know that this is height and this is base. Square roots of 47 mean nothing. You can't have diagonal heights. So it's just base times height, so 7 times 9 is 63. They just put the square roots of 47 there to throw you off. Don't get thrown off, you don't need it. Number 28, if 8a to the 6th, b to the 3rd is less than 0, which cannot be true? Here's the thing about these problems. Whenever you're dealing with values less than 0, you want to think in terms of positives and negatives. So I'm going to rewrite this down here so we can talk about it. 8 is what kind of number? Yes, it's even. Okay? Yes, it's a rational number, an integer, but in this instance, we want to think in terms of positives and negatives. 8 is a positive number. Filling in, anything to an even power will always yield a positive answer. Well, in order for positive times a positive times an unknown to be less than 0, I need a negative somewhere. Positive times a positive is always a negative, always a positive, sorry. And a positive times a negative will always yield a negative answer. So b to the 3rd must be negative. Well, which one can't be true? If b is positive, okay, if b is positive, then this answer is positive and it won't be less than 0 anymore. So the correct answer is G. Always take a second and think about what the problem is asking to help you. Number 29, AB is equal to AC, so I'm going to mark those equal. Find the value of X. Well, in this picture, this angle and this angle are actually corresponding. So this angle is also 80. Well, this is an isosceles triangle, which means the base angles are the same, so this is also 80. Okay. And now from here, we know that this measurement, 80 plus 80 is 160. 180 minus 160 is 20. So now to help us on this problem, these angles should add up to 180 because they are a linear pair. Well, 180 minus this 80 minus this 20 gives us with an answer of 80, which means the X value is 80. So this problem uses alternate interior angles as well as linear pairs to help you solve this problem. Number 30, in the figure below, R and S are parallel. What is the value of X? Well, we should see that these two angles are called same side interior, and they are actually supplementary, and they'll add to 180. So 2y plus y equals 180. So 2y plus y is 3y. When I divide both sides by 3, I get 60, which means this angle here is 60. 2 times 60 is 120. Well, again, you can use a linear pair, or you can see that this angle here is 60, and these two are actually the same. So X is also 60. So this uses alternate interior angles and same side interior. You could have also used a linear pair. You could have said 180 minus 120 is 60, but this actually saves you some time to know alternate interiors. Number 31, we are looking for which value is true. So in your answer, we say line 1 is parallel to line 2. So 1 is parallel to 2. And then it says 2 is parallel to 3. Well, 2 is parallel to 3, which ends up making all those lines parallel. Okay? And line 1 is perpendicular to 4. So in our problem, it says, okay, which ones are true? Line 1 is parallel to line 3. That is true. We marked them parallel. Line 2 is perpendicular to 4. Well, if these are parallel, these angles that I'm marking as 90, those are corresponding angles. So L2 is parallel to line, or perpendicular to line 4, as well as line 3 being perpendicular to 4. So all of these are in fact true. Number 32, the sides of a triangle, 9, 12, and 15. What is the angle between the two shortest sides? Here's the thing. This is a triangle. I can't have a single angle that's 180. Like, that's too many. I need 3 angles that add to equal 180. So I know F is a ridiculous choice. Here's the other thing. Clearly, these are not isosceles triangles. They're not special right triangles. You actually need to see that 9, 12, and 15, that is a Pythagorean triple. It is a 3, 4, 5 that has been multiplied by 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, 5 times 3 is 15. This is a Pythagorean triple. So if it's a Pythagorean triple, it's a right triangle. So the angle between the shortest sides, okay, the shortest sides here are 3 and 4, that's where the 90 degree goes. So this is a special right triangle. There's no way to find the other angles. Number 33, in a pentagon, one angle is 40. What is the total measure of the other 4? So we're trying to calculate what these 4 added together is going to equal. We don't care about them individually. We want to know what the total measure of the 4 angles are. Well, a pentagon has 5 sides. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to find out how many degrees, I'm going to do 5 minus 2 times 180, the polygon angle sum theorem. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Times 180 is 540, which means all 5 of these angles must add up to 540. Well, I already have 40 of it. So the remaining angles, which represent all these circles, is 500. Option D. All right, number 34, the very last one. If sine of A is 3 over 5, what is tangent of A? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I'm going to draw a picture. I'm going to put A up here, making this hypotenuse. This side would be opposite. This would be adjacent. So opposite is 3, hypotenuse is 5. Hopefully we recognize that this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. 3, 4, 5s are important to recognize. Tangent's fraction, according to A, will always be opposite over adjacent. Opposite side is 3, adjacent side is 4, for an answer of 3/4, which is option G.